Yeah, hi friends, my name is Philip Chandan and welcome back to my channel Energy and Environment Education. Friends, this is chapter 2.3 Steam System and this is part E of this chapter. Actually, I have divided the entire chapter into different parts A, B, C, D. Already I have made videos on and uploaded in this channel. So you can go through all those videos also. They are equally important as this video is. So you'll see in the channel concerned Energy and Environment Education, I have uploaded a number of videos on different chapters. I have made a series of videos of different chapters and uploaded in this channel, friends. So you can go through those videos. These videos will help you out to prepare your exam in a better way. So anybody who is going to appear for this exam, energy auditor exam or energy manager exam in this year or in coming years, for them this will be really useful for preparation, exam preparation, friends. Also, any engineer who wants to switch career to energy domain, energy sector, or want to understand energy sector, for them also these videos can help them out to have a better understanding about this sector and about this exam, friends. So anybody, any engineer who wants to shape career in this sector, in this field, energy field, for them these videos are going to help you out for a better understanding, friends. So also please do subscribe my channel, friends, if not yet, because this will motivate me to prepare more such videos in coming days. And I'm also not going to prepare only on the energy auditor or energy manager exam, friends. I'm also going to post you different videos basically on energy domain, energy profile, and also the environmental profile, or the environmental sector, friends. So you need to be connected with me because I'm going to post a lot of videos, different type of videos, which may be helpful for you for your career guidance also, or also for shaping your career, friends, in energy and environmental sector. So please be connected with me and let's start this video, and hopefully this video also going to help you out in your exam preparation and better understanding the concept, better understanding the examination pattern and all this stuff, friends. So please be connected with me and let's start the today's video, part E, chapter 2.3 steam system, friends. So let's start with the content first. So in this particular video, I'm going to discuss on two major topics. The first one is the performance assessment methods for steam traps, and also the second topic will be efficient steam utilization and energy saving opportunities, friends. So these are two important topics and a lot of questions you can expect in the exam from these two particular topics, friends. And hopefully you must have gone through the other topics also that I have discussed in other videos on this chapter A, B, C, D. Please go through those videos. That there also you'll find a lot of content which will be helpful for you and for your understanding, easy understanding, you can say. So please go through those videos also. And for this particular video, on this particular video, I'm going to discuss on these two topics. So let's start the video, friends. So to start with the performance assessment methods for steam traps, friends, it's very much important for everybody of us, whoever is handling the steam traps, to understand the performance assessment methods. How you can assess the performance of the steam trap, friends. A steam trap performance assessment is basically concerned with answering the following two questions. These two questions are very much important. First of all, to understand, the first question is the trap working correctly or not? That is the first question you should ask yourself, or as a team, if you're working, you need to understand whether the trap is working correctly or not. Second thing, if not, has the trap failed in the open or closed position? So these two positions are also important, equally important. First of all, you should know whether the trap is correctly working or not. And second thing, if it is not working, if the trap is failed, then whether it is failed in an open position or the closed position. Let's understand why it is so important to understand the position of the failure of trap, friends. Traps that fail open result in a loss of steam and its energy. So basically, if it is, the trap has failed, but the failure has occurred in an open position. So in that case, what will happen? There will be loss of steam because the trap is already open and a lot of steam will be, flowing out, and also there will be loss of energy, friends. So significant amount of energy will be lost and the steam will be lost, friends. So in the case when the trap is failed, but in an open condition, so it will lead to a lot of steam and energy wastage, friends. And also this will lead to the condensate is not returned, but water is also lost as well. So also it will it will lead to the loss of water, friends. Now coming to the second part, like suppose if the it is closed position, if the trap has failed in a closed position, in that case you can understand the trap is closed but it is not working efficiently, or it is not properly working, or it is damaged. So in that case, what will happen? there will not be any wastage of energy that can be understood. There will not be any water losses or any steam losses will be going on. Those things will not occur when the trap has failed, but in a closed position, but can result in significantly reducing the heat capacity and or damage to steam heating equipment. Now you can understand, if the trap is failed but it is closed position, so the steam will not pass it through it correctly, and also condensate it will carry on. So in that case it will damage the other steam heating equipment, friends. So in that case you need to assess the steam traps regularly from time to time, and you need to check it out whether the steam traps are performing well or not, and if not, then you need to replace it as soon as possible, friends. Now there are different types of testings which can be done, which can be used to check whether the traps are performing well or not. In the exam, they ask you to basically name the three types of or different types of testings which is done to to assess the performance of the trap, or whether the trap is working or not. So you can either they may ask you to only name the three test types of testings, or they may ask also to explain them, or straight away they may give you different types of testings name, and they will ask you to briefly explain the testing method, friends. So you can see here the first one is the visual testing. So by the name only you can understand that you can do the testing of the steam trap by just with the help of your sight, friends. So you can see the steam trap which your expertise and your expertise you can use to sense it whether the steam trap is properly working or not, and then you can find it out with the problems in the steam trap, friends. But it's not so efficient method, you can say, because it want to give you the concrete result, and it's not so feasible enough to go for this type of study, friends. Otherwise there is a method, this is a type of method, you can say a part of method, you can say, where the visual testing is used to identify the the performance of the steam trap, or whether the steam trap is properly working or not, or it is damaged. So visual testing is one of the methods. I'm not going to explain you here, everything is written here, you can go through and understand yourself, but easily you can understand what is visual testing all about. This is another type of testing, friend, the sound testing method, by which also you can check whether the trap is performing well or not, or it is damaged or not. So sound testing includes ultrasonic leak detectors and other equipments to basically check whether the trap is performing properly or not, or whether it is damaged completely. So this is also a sound testing method is also equally important. A lot of industries use this method to check the performance of the steam traps. So again, the easy explanation is given here, you can go through, understand yourself. I'm not going to explain you in detail here, but in exam if they ask you, you must be able to explain it very briefly about the sound testing method and the visual testing method, which was explained in the last slide. Again, this is another type of testing, friends, which is called the temperature testing. So by the name itself, you can understand what testing is to be done here and how the testing is to be performed. So basically, you use the temperature gun, or you can say infrared testing equipment is this, which by which you use to check the temperature of the steam trap from outside, and or you can say the outlet side of the trap, and then you can analyze it whether the there is leakages going on inside the steam trap or something as such. So you can easily perform the assessment of the steam trap, whether it's performing well or not, or if there is a gap or any damage is there, with your expertise, friends. So this is the third type of the checking or performance checking of the steam trap. So you can see the visual type is one, second is the sound type, third is the temperature testing method, friends. So these are the three methods that are used basically to test the performance of the steam traps, or whether to know whether the steam trap is performing well or not, or it is damaged or not. So those things has to be analyzed and can be done by these three methods or testing methods, friends. Now coming to the efficient steam utilization and energy saving opportunities. So basically in this case you can see here that there are different types of methods, or you can say the saving opportunities, where you can use those applications and you can save energy, a lot of energy in the steam distribution system, friends. The first thing is the monitoring of the steam traps. So that's what I said in the last slides also. The steam trap assessment and monitoring is very much important for the energy conservation point of view also. So if you want to conserve energy, you need to regularly monitor the steam traps whether they are performing well or not. Is there any damage inside the trap, or you need to replace the steam trap as such. So all this thing has to be analyzed, and continuously you have to monitor it. And if any damage is there, or the performance is not as per standard or as per the expected, then you have to replace the steam trap accordingly, friends. So those things are very important. So this is the first energy saving opportunity you have, that is to monitor the steam trap on a regular basis, friends. Now, like suppose there is continuous steam blow and no flow indication. This means there is a problem in the trap. So you need to analyze the steam trap from time to time. A step-by-step analysis is required, and you need to observe the discharge from the trap such that understand whether the trap is performing well or not, or any problem is there inside the trap. So, like suppose if any continuous steam blow is there and no flow indication is there, this means some problem is happening inside the trap, and that has to be analyzed and can be concluded whether to change the trap or not. Because if not, then a lot of energy losses will be going on. So proper analysis, step by step analysis will lead to take concrete action, and then you can save a lot of energy. So this is the energy saving opportunity in the steam system, friends. The third energy saving opportunity is the avoiding the steam leakages. So you need to take care that as low as possible or as minimum as possible there is any steam leakages in the steam distribution system, friends. Steam leakage is a visible indicator of waste and must be avoided. So any leakage if it's happening in the equipment side, or you can say at the steam distribution side, any leakage if it's happening, it has to be curtailed or it has to be addressed, and you need to keep in mind minimum steam leakages should happen inside the plant, premises, friends. So it has been estimated that a 3 mm diameter hole on a pipeline carrying 7 kg per centimeter square steam would waste 33 kl of fuel oil per year. So you can see how much steam can be wasted with only a 3 mm diameter hole on a pipeline. So you need to address all the holes, all the leakages, and anywhere it is, if it is there, and has to be addressed. So avoiding the steam leakages will lead to a lot of energy saving for sure. So this is third opportunity for energy saving or energy conservation in the steam distribution system, friends. Now the other opportunity is the providing dry steam. So you should consider the dry steam for the process, not the wet steam. If you use a dry steam, you'll have a lot of energy saving potential, friends. Best steam for industrial process is the heating is a dry saturated steam. So you must keep in mind that the steam that you use in the processes are basically a dry saturated steam and not the wet steam. The wet steam reduces the total heat in the steam. So basically if you use a dry steam, you'll have more energy conservation opportunity, friends. So this is the fourth type of energy conservation measures that can be taken to save energy, friends. So providing dry steam for process is the fourth energy conservation opportunity in the steam distribution system, friends. Now the fifth energy conservation opportunity in the steam system is the utilizing steam at the lowest acceptable pressure for the process. So what is to be understood here? As a guide, the steam should always be generated and distributed at the highest possible pressure, but utilized at a low pressure as low as possible. So if you generate the steam, you can generate at a higher pressure and also distribute at a higher pressure. But when you are going to utilize it in the process, keep in mind to have a low pressure as low as possible, since it then has higher latent heat. So latent heat will be utilized in a better way if you keep the pressure as low as possible, friends. So this is the fifth energy consumption opportunity inside the steam distribution system, friends. So the sixth point is the proper utilization of directly injected steam. So basically what is happening here, any liquid if you want to heat it, so you can directly inject the steam inside the liquid and you can heat the liquid in a very efficient manner, friends. So in this case only the problem is that the liquid should not be diluted with the concerned steam, friends. So steam should not mix up with the liquid. So in processes where dilution is not a problem, heating is done by blowing steam into the liquid. So any liquid where the steam will not mix it up, so in those liquid where it is to be heated up, so you can use the steam directly, you can inject the steam directly, and you can straight away heat the liquid, friends. Heating of a liquid by direct injection of the steam is often desirable. So for this process, where the dilution is not a problem, you can use this method to heat the liquid, friends. And it's a very efficient method, and you can see a lot of energy also can be conserved here because directly you are injecting steam inside the liquid. So you need not use any other mechanism here, friends, for heating the liquid. So you can see the proper utilization of directly injected steam will help you to save a lot of energy, friends. Now the seventh point is the minimizing the heat transfer barriers. So already you can see, understand with the name itself. I'm not going to explain in detail here. So you can understand by the heading itself that you have to minimize the heat transfer barriers. Any barrier, if it is there, which will not lead to proper heat transfer, will really lead to loss of energy. So if you want to save energy, the heat transfer mechanism should be best possible, and any barrier that is leading to problem in the heat transfer, that has to be minimized or curtailed, friends. So minimizing the heat transfer barriers is an efficient way to save energy, friends. So if you want to save energy, make sure that you have the minimum heat transfer barriers. So the eighth point for for energy conservation measures can be proper air venting. So any air, if it is mixed with the steam, will really lead to energy consumption more. So you can say, if you want to save energy, so proper air venting is very much important. You have to remove any air present in the steam system. That's called air venting. So this is the eighth point that has to be discussed here. And second thing is the ninth point, the condenser recovery. So any condenser, if you have, that has to be recovered, and that can be reused to preheat the water, or you can say feed water. So this is one aspect where you can say save a lot of energy if you use the condensate, if you recover the condensate and use it to preheat the feed water, friends. So condensate recovery is another important point for energy conservation in the steam system, friends. So the tenth point is, you can see the installation of steam pipelines and hot process equipment. So as you see the title already, you must be able to understand what it is all about. So you have to insulate all the steam pipelines and all the equipments, hot process equipments, as much as possible, such that there is no loss of energy ongoing. And also you can see with this you can save a lot of energy, and this can be very much useful point for the energy conservation point of view, friends. So this is tenth point for the energy conservation opportunity in the steam system, friends. 11th point is the flash steam recovery. Flash steam is produced when condensate at a higher pressure is released to a lower pressure and can be used for a low pressure heating. So this is also an important point which can be used as an opportunity for energy conservation in the steam system, friends. So another important point is the pipe redundancy. This means any pipe which is no longer needed, can be removed from the steam distribution system, friends. This will lead to a lot of energy saving, you can say. So this is a very much important point to consider for the energy conservation point of view, friends. So this is the 12th energy saving opportunity in the steam system. 13th, reducing the work to be done by steam. So wherever it is required to use the steam, there only you use the steam. Otherwise, if it is not required, you can use other mechanism, other things to cope up with it. So only where the steam has to be required, there only it should be used, because it's a really costly affair. And also, if any steam leakages is there, any steam maintenance is there, so it leads to a lot of economical impact in the company, friends. So wherever possible, if it can be used, any other mechanism can be used instead of steam, that can be taken care. And only where the necessary is there for the steam utilization, only there has to be used. So reducing the work to be done by steam is very much important, because if you use the requirement of steam, if it is not feasible there to use the steam, so in that case you can save a lot of energy, friends. So this is the 13th point for energy conservation point of view, or you can say the energy saving opportunity in the steam system, friends. So that's all for today, friends. I hope you might have gone through the entire video, and you must have enjoyed it, and hopefully you must have understood the concept that I have tried to explain you in this particular video. So please do connect with me, and also please do subscribe my channel if not yet, and also press the bell icon if not yet, such that you get the instant notification as soon as I post a new video in coming days. So as I said in the earlier part of the video also, that I'm going to post number of videos, and in different type of videos on energy sector, environmental sector, not only important for the energy auditor exam or energy manager exam, but for other domain, you can say different profiles in energy and environmental sector, friends, which may help you out to shape your career, build your career in these two sectors, friends. So please be connected with me. This is my mobile number and email ID. Any query if you have, you can WhatsApp me. Also, you can drop me an email with your queries. I'll try to come back and revert you as soon as possible, friends. So stay connected, and do watch my other videos also, which I posted on this channel on different chapters that I made. These videos will help you out to prepare for not only for this exam, for other exam also. So all engineers who wants to build their career in energy domain, or you can say for the exam also, these videos can help you out, friends. So stay connected with me. to watch my all the videos that I posted on the channel, and please do write any feedback, any input if you have in your mind. So that's all for today, and we'll meet in a new video in coming days, friends. So stay connected and do subscribe my channel again, I'm saying, and press the bell icon, friends, before you leave.